Welcome back, YouTubers, to another NXT review with me, Mr. Parkin, on behalf of the British Fist. As per usual, if you have any thoughts and comments on NXT or this week's edition of NXT, please let me know down in the comments section below. And overall, the show, it's not that it was a bad show or anything. The show just felt kind of meh to me this week, in all honesty. It's just my personal opinion. I guess that is reflected in the sense that I really don't have all that much to say about the show this week, so this review should be pretty short. So to open the show, we had Hideo Itami versus Dempsey, and by the way this match went down and how Hideo Itami won the match, it looks like Baron Corbin is now back down to jobber status, which in my opinion is where he should be. I mean, he's put over Baron Corbin many times now. The Dempsey character, no matter how well they've booked the guy, how well they featured him, or how much they featured him, just hasn't really made me pay attention. The Dempsey character just isn't really interesting. Quite frankly, the only interesting thing about the guy is his music. That's really the only thing I find in any way entertaining about Dempsey. But anyway, back to the point at hand. The whole post-match with Tyler Breeze, I'd like to get into in just a little bit of detail. You had just when I'm thinking, what are they going to do with Hideo Itami after beating Tyler Breeze at NXT TakeOver Rival? You had Hideo Itami on the ramp celebrating, and then Tyler Breeze super kicking him out of nowhere and then trying to take a selfie with his selfie stick with Hideo Itami laid out on the floor. And I'm thinking, no, that's a good way of getting heat on Tyler Breeze. And then you have Hideo Itami make his comeback and kick his ass inside the ring and put him out the ring. And I'm sitting there thinking, wow, you were just getting some good heat on Tyler Breeze. And what a wasted opportunity there to get some heat on Tyler Breeze, especially after he's just lost to the guy at NXT TakeOver Rival. Just a wasted opportunity here to get a little bit of heat on Tyler Breeze, even though I know that the main focus really right now is on Hideo Itami. So they announced next week in a backstage segment and a quite nice video package as well that Sasha Banks will be defending her NXT Women's Championship against Charlotte. And I believe this will be match number 4 between these two now, and Charlotte said in her interview that Sasha Banks has never beaten her one-on-one. So I imagine this will be the opportunity that Sasha Banks will get to beat Charlotte one-on-one and really put that to rest and allow Charlotte to go to the main roster. I'm hearing rumours that she's apparently going to be involved perhaps at WrestleMania or maybe after WrestleMania. So it looks like her losing the belt had a lot of reason to do with the fact that they wanted to actually bring her up. And I think Charlotte losing the belt to Sasha Banks was the right decision. I think Sasha Banks was definitely the next person, or the next best person in my opinion, to win that belt after Charlotte. Although saying that, I will be glad once they're done wrestling each other now, because we've seen this match, what, 4 times as of next week? Just don't want to see these two really wrestle. They've wrestled so many times in such a short period of time that I've kind of gotten a little bit tired of it. But as a way to sort of allow Charlotte to do her thing on the way out, I'm fine with them doing this just one last time, if that's how they're going to do it. Also on this show, we had Bayley versus Becky Lynch for what seemed like the 1000th time. And, I take it now Sasha's won the belt, that Becky is now going on her own. I think she seems like she's really excelling in that role. She had a good performance, I believe, in that Fatal 4-Way NXT Women's Championship match. And, she got the win here over Bayley with a pretty brutal-looking reverse armbar. I wonder if she'll be the next challenger to Sasha Banks. You could do either Bayley or Becky Lynch, really, and there would be storyline reasons for that. So I don't really mind who does, but it seems like the way Becky Lynch was booked here that she's probably going to be the next challenger to Sasha Banks, and I quite frankly have no problems with that. I think she's a good performer, and I think she can really work a decent match with Sasha Banks, and maybe even if they had a little bit of story to it, a good program. I will say this though. Despite the fact that the NXT Divas division, or Women's division I should say, is really good, I think it's, now that Charlotte is probably going to be moving up to the main roster at some point soon, I think it's about time we got a new face or two into the Women's division, especially the championship picture. Otherwise, we will be seeing a lot more of the same matches we have been over the last few months, and I've got to the point now where I would like to see something a little bit fresh. It kind of reminds me of what the Knockouts division was like in a lesser way. Last year in TNA, it was just the same people facing off week after week after week. So a new face or two, I believe, is definitely needed in the women's division right now. So we have the Lucha Dragons facing off with Ty Dillinger and Jason Jordan. And the Lucha Dragons won this match, but it was what they were doing between Ty Dillinger and Jason Jordan which finally got me interested. And it's mainly because I've wanted a singles run for Jason Jordan for quite some time now, and it seems like they're trying to do something here to try and maybe allow that to happen. You had Jason Jordan just storming out of the ring because Ty Dillinger told him to relax, dude. I've got this, even though blatantly he didn't have it. So there's a bit of tension there, and he stormed off, and we're going to be getting some explanation on that at some point soon. But finally, looks like we may be seeing some kind of singles run for Jason Jordan, which I've secretly wanted for quite some time now. I haven't really made it very apparent on my videos, but I saw Jason Jordan 2 or 3 years ago on FCW, and I really thought the guy had the look, and I really wanted this guy to be given some kind of chance as singles competitor. I think at the time he was very green, and maybe he's still quite green, but, you know, you've got to give the guy a chance to see how he deals with it. I quite liked what happened after the match as well, when you had Ty Dillinger in the ring wanting Jason Jordan, but instead he gets an ass whipping from Baron Corbin. I thought that was actually quite a good way to get Baron Corbin involved on the show and get him in another 15-second victory. I mean, you don't really need to do much more than that with Baron Corbin. He's basically NXT's version of Goldberg right now, isn't he? So, yeah, so that was a good creative way, I think, to get Baron Corbin on the show using what had happened between Ty Dillinger and Jason Jordan, which hopefully they will develop into some kind of mini program which will get Jason Jordan going. Also, just before this match happened, we had the Solomon Crowe thing, and, you know, I think that they're incorporating this hacker gimmick into the show now, and I think it's a nice way to get him on the show every week without him actually having to be there in the ring. You know, if there's a character if there's a character cutting a promo or having a match in the ring every week or every 2 weeks, you know, after a while he can get a little bit, you know, stale. But having the ability to have Solomon Crowe in a backstage promo or a backstage pre-tape, you know, on every week is a nice way of keeping him in people's minds while also not allowing the character to get very stale. Now, even though I thought his debut last week was a little bit sour and just wasn't the best way, in my opinion, of debuting the guy, I still think that, you know, if WWE or NXT really put something behind this guy, that we could see something quite unique possibly in Solomon Crowe. Also, did anyone else think that Solomon Crowe was reading the lines off his tablet? Just one thing that was going through my mind as he was cutting this promo, that he's reading his lines off his tablet. He may not have been, I don't know, but that's it. So it looks like next week Sami Zayn will address the WWE Universe in what I imagine will be some kind of backstage pre-tape or something, or maybe a phone recording like he's done before, as he was in Abu Dhabi and he had to miss the TV tapings for NXT. And I think that might have been quite a big reason why WWE, or NXT, I should say, gave the belt to Kevin Owens in that way, where he didn't win clean, but they needed a champion on the TV tapings, and Sami Zayn knew Sami Zayn was going to be in Abu Dhabi, and he wasn't necessarily going to be there, which, you know, really, considering everything, means that that decision at NXT TakeOver Rival was probably the best decision they could have done with regards Kevin Owens being the champion, Sami Zayn as a challenger now, and the storyline between them two going a little bit more long-term. WWE. I don't consider what you did on the show as a surprise return when you announce the return in advance, give the surprise return a video package with his name in it. A surprise return, in my opinion, or I think as the definition of surprise return, is when the surprise happens when the return happens, not when you pre-announce it. And of all people to give a surprise return to WWE, or in this case NXT, the Brian Kendrick? Really? That's the best you could do? The Brian Kendrick? The guy who was the Wizard of Oz in TNA? The guy who I never had any kind of interest in unless he was tagging with Paul London in WWE pre-2005? I have no interest in seeing the Brian Kendrick in a main event segment on NXT facing the #1 contender to the NXT Championship, Finn Balor. I just have no interest in that. If it's a one-time thing and Brian Kendrick is just there to put over Finn Balor, then fine. I can forgive this. But the Brian Kendrick in a main event of NXT, I'm sorry, no. I'm not having that. But anyway, Finn Balor won the match clean, fair and square. If it's a one-off thing, fine. What I want to concentrate on here more was this whole thing between Kevin Owens and Alex Riley. Now, Kevin Owens was on commentary for this, which makes sense because Finn Balor's the #1 contender. But what on earth was going on between Kevin Owens and Alex Riley? Because whatever it was between them two, either it just wasn't very well executed or it was just ill-timed, but it just kind of felt, well, lame. It just did. I don't know why. I was looking at it and I was thinking, like, is that it? Like, really? And, you know, they did the whole thing after the match when Finn Balor won with Kevin Owens coming out and attacking Alex Riley at the commentary desk. And, you know, fine. You know, I mean, essentially, Kevin Owens is attacking a commentator, which is a bit of a cowardly heel chicken shit way of doing things. But if this leads to Alex Riley actually getting back in the ring again for the foreseeable future, then I am all for this. It's about fucking time WWE got Alex Riley off the fucking commentary table and got him involved in NXT in a wrestling sense. Now, I know for a fact that Alex Riley's been wanting to get back in the wrestling ring for quite some time now, and I don't mind him being the, you know, analysis or the analyst or whatever they call him on WWE TV. I think the guy's a good talker. I think he fulfills that role quite well. But it seems like WWE feel that Corey Graves is now going to be put in that role. So it feels right that Alex Riley is back, or if he is going to come back in some kind of wrestling capacity. So like I said at the start of the review, I mean, obviously you had TakeOver Rival, and then you had the following NXT, which I thought was really good. So compared to those two shows, this show was kind of meh. And I think that's the main reason why I felt that way, is because we had two really good shows, and then we got this. And I think my expectations were just kind of up there. And now I think I've just been brought back to reality in the sense that, you know, NXT can't get it right every week, even though they are only an hour. They can't get it right every week with with the talent they've got, etc. It's just a fact, you know, it's just a fact of the wrestling business. It's been like that for quite some time now. But the show, it was watchable. I mean, I watched the full hour, or full 48 minutes as it was, no problem. But it was just kind of a meh show to me. I don't know why, it just was. If you have any thoughts on the show, please let me know down in the comment section below, and I'll be here same time next week. Thank you very much for watching if you have, and goodbye.